Alright, what's up you guys? Welcome to another Sharknewz Xtra episode, as today we're going to be taking a look at waves 1 through 4 from Spero Toys, aka Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Now, we know that Series 2 will be coming out sometime soon, so there's a lot more expansions of characters and storylines within this particular brand and line. However, in this video, like I said, I want to kind of go over Series 1 and kind of take a look at some of my favorite figures and just expand the lore of Spero Toys and Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, because I do have a few of these figures, and I will tell you that I'm very impressed as someone who's a big fan of anthropomorphic characters like Ninja Turtles, Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, Mighty Ducks, or even Thundercats, or and many more dinosaurs for that matter. This kind of goes right up my alley of collecting and inspirations, and kind of reminds me of my childhood, which is really awesome. So in this episode, I won't really go over the backstory of most of the characters, but there are comics to kind of explore the lore of Series 1 or Waves 1 through 4, but for now, here we are on the official website of Spero Toys, which I will have the link in the description below. And there is a sale going on right now, so if you want to check it out, go ahead and do so. And it's a lot cheaper buying it here than it is in the aftermarket. But here we have a grid of waves 1 through 4, and there are some other additional things like comics, which again I won't go over because that'll help you expand the lore. So kind of good to kind of read it for yourself. But so let's go ahead and take a look at wave 1. And wave 1 is a pretty decent start off to the Spero Toys line, at least within the 6-inch scale. So at first we have Pale, who's basically the leader of the Chunari group, or Chunar, hopefully if I said that right. And what I love about this figure is that he has a mohawk, and the color schemes of all these figures, they work really well. Like, some of them contrast well against the skin. I love the designs of it. And one thing to note is, if you have these figures, they actually feel like action figures. The type of plastic that they're using, it does not feel gummy like how some Hasbro products are. These actually feel like action figures from like the 80s and 90s. So that's what makes it enticing to buy, because it just again brings you back to a certain realm of nostalgia. So I absolutely love this figure in general, but it's really cool. So that is Pale. Then we have another figure called Atreiu, hopefully I said that right. Kind of gives you that Thundercats vibe, but the gold armor and the browns looks really great, and I love just the overall aesthetic and design of it. So it's a really nice looking figure, and yeah, I mean, it's more on the simpler side, but he does come with like a shield, etc. But the picture doesn't depict it, but it's good. I mean, it's one of my favorites too within this line. And I guess he also says he's a fearless, proud, and also an arrogant prince of the house of Fearless. So he's a prince, so that's a good backstory to know within this particular collection. Next we have the Horrid Ravager, Ravager. This one is a really great one because he's part of like the monkeys or apes, like baboons or orangutan style. I forgot which one it's considered, but I love the blues, how it contrasts as well against the olive greens and then the actual knee pads. So you can see the intricate details and designs, so that looks really awesome. And plus his head sculpt looks really cool. So that's a good one to have in the collection. But I don't have this one yet, but I hope to get it someday in the future. And he's basically considered like the background army builder to the main leader of the group, which is Kahl Lee. And Kahl Lee is the leader of the Horrid Ravagers. And this guy, again, gives you more like the Planet of the Apes vibe with his stern look. I love the golds, subtle hints of purples, and look at the intricate details on the armor pieces, which is absolutely incredible. And he also has long hair, so that's awesome. But he has very intricate designs on his shoulder pads, and the accessories and weapons are pretty decent for that matter. So yeah, it's a good one to have in the collection if you're a fan of primal style like action figures, like wildlife. So that's cool. Then we have a character, well, this is an army builder, as we have the Chunari Legionary. he has a cool shield, red armor pieces that contrast as well against the brown, and the furs are sculpted really well. And we'll see this figure come up a few times as like a reuse or remolds of these, or resculpting of these figures, and some of these accessories will be reused again. But I love how at least they give us army builders to kind of aid the main characters as well. So the design of this one looks pretty sick, and yeah, it's mostly just red, but still looks really good. And it just says he is let's see, personally, he's handpicked from the finest recruits. So these ape warriors went through rigorous and hellish training to earn the ranks of the Chunari Legionary. So one thing to note about these characters is that if you look at their armor and color schemes, you can tell which factions they belong to. And then we have one of my favorites, which is Tiberius, which is a very heavily Thundercats inspiration from Lion-O. But then again, it's a tiger, so difference, but roughly the same thing, in my opinion. This one looks really cool. I love how it's like the gradients from the wrists, from the white fur to the orange, the tiger stripes. I love the hair sculpting from the sides, and then the bottom half that kind of cuts off right by the orange. The gold armor pieces, and this one you don't really see fur textures on his legs as it's more armor pieces, but the blues do contrast as well against the very subtle muted gold, and then everything else about it looks really great. So great color schemes for that matter. And I love how his description says he's shady and mysterious, so great. And I believe he's a good guy too, so it's a great one to add into the collection. So that is wave 1. Wave 2, we are heading into more characters added, as it's a lot more army builders and new characters. But here we have General Thane, who's like a freaking beast of an ape, but he's also the father of the leader Pale. So that's awesome. I did not know that prior, but knowing that he's the father is really sick. I love the design of it. I love the overall armor pieces, and if you look closely on the armor, you can see there's a lot of dings and scratches, so you know that he's been in through some battles. But what I really love is that the blues and reds contrast as well against the black figure, and the fur and texturing and sculpting coloring of the figure as well. So, and plus his face looks great, and he does come with like a helmet and everything. So I don't have this figure just yet, but I will buy it at some point. Then we have a really cool looking figure named Khor Doon. I love this one. I did pre-order this one. It will be coming soon, but I love how the colors of the blues and oranges of the armor pieces mix and match. So you can see how the right hand has the orange armor, but then the right leg has blue armor, whereas the left leg has orange armor or brown, and then the left arm has blue armor. So I love how it's all reversed. So that makes, and plus his facial expression is really awesome. So can't wait to have this one into my collection. It also says that he is he trains to become an inspiring soldier, etc., and he'll basically decimate enemies of the other opposing clan. So he's loyal, but yeah, pretty cool. He's a master combat instructor of the House of Feralist. Sick. Good storytelling. Next, we have another figure that I pre-ordered, which is Lexion. I love the design of this guy. I love how the browns and oranges mix and match really well, contrast as well against the skin, which has spots on it. The face sculpt looks really cool. He has very great armor pieces, and plus the weapons and accessories looks fantastic. So this is a great one. Plus, the head sculpt is a bit new compared to all the other ones, so that's what makes it a little bit more special. And then it says here, Lexion the Terrible arrived a Reaver warship not too long ago. Him and his band of renegades have not stopped raiding villages, leaving countless deaths in their wakes. Wow. So he's kind of a ruthless villain, so sick. Then we have Spero's Blight, who's like the shadow version of Pale, so nothing too much to see here, but just more of the purplish and pink color schemes. So same mold and design and everything, just the color schemes are different, but he's, like I said, it's more like the shadow darker version of Pale, so that's a great one to have if you prefer. Then we have one of my favorites, which is Atlas, and I do own this one, and I love how he's a skilled warrior and master of magic, and he's also a white tiger, And when you have the color schemes of a white tiger with purples and pinks and golds, that is like chef's kiss. Beautiful color designs, and I love how he has like a crystal on his staff, which adds a lot more versatility to the figure. And his eyes are also blue, like crystal blue. So again, the color choices for this one looks fantastic. And we've seen the mold and design of this figure before, but I just love how it's like a uniquely different color scheme compared to Tiberius, which is awesome. But yeah, I do own this one, and it's a good one to have. Then we have some other army builders, which I won't dive too deep into, but we have Onyx, and I hope to get this at some point. But these are more like stripped down figures, as you can buy like different head sculpts and more accessory packs to equip them to build your characters. We have Ash. This guy looks cool, gray with the blues and reds. Then we have Chunari Infantry. This guy looks sick with the reds, and I love the brown fur. So even though they look very bare, but again, you have to buy the additional head sculpts and armor accessory packs to build and expand your lore of Spero toys. This is really cool. The blues and browns, nice figure. I love the face sculpt. This is the Horrid Scavenger. Then we have the feral Beasty. I love how it's like orange with the blue nose piece. Nice part of the apes. So we have apes and other the felines. So again, more additional head sculpts if we load here. So yeah, that looks sick. Next we have Wave 3, which is the Army Builder set. So we've seen this one before where it was in red, but this one's in gold. This one is pretty sick. Same design and everything, but same shield, just in gold instead of red. So another great army builder. So it kind of has like different rankings compared to other ones. So that's awesome. So I will get this someday in the future. The army builders are being pushed to the side, but for now, it says a special unit of Chunari's finest garrison in Last Phalanx defense. Many threats, training to earn Chunari Legionary. I think we've seen this bio before. Here's another cool one, the Horrid Brute. This one looks awesome, very similar to General Thane. I love how it's like the contrasting colors with the gray skin with the blues and maroons. I love how the left leg has no armor shin guards or anything, but the right leg has the knee pads and stuff, and he has brass knuckles. That's sick. Yeah, and the accessories, and I love the head sculpt of that. He has like red eyes and a more pissed off facial expression, so that's cool. Then we have a really cool one, which is the Feralist Stalker. I hope to get this too one day, but for now, the color schemes of the browns and blues looks good. A little bit more simpler, minimal designs to it, but the head sculpt looks cool. And yeah, I will get this at some point, but another great addition into the line. And if you look at the photography, you kind of get an idea of adding additional head sculpts and helmets to the figures. So that's a good one to have. Then we have the Horrid Infantry. So we've seen this one before, but now he has a different head sculpt with more of the redder face and same style armor. But what I love about this one is, aside from having the left shoulder having like armor pieces, the shin guards of the right has a darker blue, whereas the shin guards on the left has a lighter silver blue, which contrasts really well against each other, against the grays. So that's awesome. So a great army builder to add. So like I said, we have, so the armor pieces and color tones really help depict what factions they reside to. So Wave 3 didn't really have much, but it's more of the army builder set, so that's great. And then we have Wave 4, more of the Gladiator sets. So I will kind of go briefly about Gladiator Pale, roughly the same figure, just mixing and matching weapons with more deco on the faces, like war paint and armor pieces. So it's like black with red. That looks sick, and we've seen that shield before. Then we have the Gladiator Atreiu, same war paint as well, different style shin guards, but the armor piece is roughly the same, but sculpting looks sick. I would probably pass on the Gladiator versions just because I like to stick to one version. Then we have the Mongrel, which is really sick. I will get this someday. He basically acts as like a entertainer to Emperor Kahl Lee, and he's kind of like a hyena, I suppose. Like a, what was it? Not like jackal, hyena, I don't know, something similar to that. I love how the eyes are just like menacing orange with the yellows, and then how the skin is like gray with the black spots, but he has like the purplish and blues that contrast as well against the figure. So, and his accessory, the axe, looks sick. What a fantastic looking figure. So I will add this guy into my collection at some point, so stay tuned for that. Then last but not least, we have Ahaw Kinn. This is a great looking figure, as I will get this too someday, but he has similar armor pieces that we've seen before, but I love how it has more like that cheetah prints on it, and then like the armor pieces of the reds and blues and reversal side of coloring. So, and plus that weapon, that blade, he looks very different, has more designs on the decos on the color scheme, so that looks sick. But otherwise, the head sculpt is what sells me out on it, because it's something different than I haven't seen before on previous figures. So I will get this soon. So other than that, that is wave 4. We know that series 2 will be coming out at some point, but if you look at the accessories, and if you saw like the army builders, this is where it comes in handy, because there's different shields, different accessories, weapons, head sculpts, and here's like an idea to see like how they look like with different color chest pieces, or like mixing and matching with armor. So that's sick. That is the Horrid gear armor set. We have the Feralist gear in the blue tones and golds. That looks sick. Yeah, I just love the stance of these figures. And then we have the Chunari gear. So the felines, the apes, and then the other ones have different gears to accompany them. So the blues and reds, that's freaking sick. I love it. So yeah. So let's see here. So the Chunaris have their own gear, the Horrids have their own gear, and the Feralists have their own gears. So that's awesome. There's one more exclusive that I cannot find on their website, but hopefully in a future video I'll talk about it. It's the same thing as General Thane and the Horrid Brute figure, but for now these are waves 1 through 4. I will expand this in my collection at some point, but for now this is a great figures to own into your collection. So let me know in the comments below if you have any of these, and if you plan on getting any of series 2, which I will talk about in the future once they add it to the website. But for now, these are great figures to add into the collection. At least I think so. So yeah, so with that said, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more updates, as I will talk more about series 2 in the future. But for now, this is series 1, waves 1 through 4. So thank you all for watching. Be sure to give a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next episode.